All right. Good morning. All right. I know everyone's saying struggling to get out of bed on Monday, especially with rain. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But it is going to be an active week for us on tracking a lot of different weather elements. So it won't exactly be a boring week, although we could use a boring week of just sunshine and 75. I don't think I'm going to complain about that. Those stretches have been tough to get this year, as you guys may have noticed. It's hard to get more than 4, maybe 5 days of dry weather and sunshine before some system starts to ruin the show. And if they do take place, they line up the days that you are working to where when you're off, then you have nothing but crummy weather the days you're off. So it never seems to balance out the way we want to. We are in that transitional period for the next really 6 weeks, as when we see a lot of the cooler aspects of spring start to surrender to more of the doldrums of summer, the more hot days and not as much precipitation. You start to ease back a bit. We'll eventually evolve into that, but I think this year will be a little later in that transition compared to what we've had in previous years. In fact, this is very similar to 2020, how it was playing out with cool shots of air mixed in with some warm days and very active weather as well. So, all right, a lot to cover here. First off, I hope everyone had a good Mother's Day, right? It seems like everyone did. I was looking at my social media posts. Everyone seemed like they were spend some time with family. That's good. Glad you have a chance to do that. And that was a beautiful weekend to do just that. All right, today the clouds are indeed back. Now, the rain has not arrived in full force yet. We've only had a few spotty showers, especially in Louisville, but another round is heading our way very, very soon, if not already. You can see, and back carefully, you can see some of the drops. Looks like snowflakes, but they're drops flying over the camera there at Kentucky Kingdom. So it looks like the rain has arrived in central Jefferson County, allowing for a bit of a wet lunch period today if you have plans to be out over the next couple of hours. Just a batch of showers. No lightning and thunder that I've been able to track out of these. So that is certainly some good news. All right, so that's the radar look there. Here's the radar look into New Albany. Same storyline, a little bit of sun. And now you're glooming back over again, preparing for another round of showers. This is the same upper low that I've talked about over and over again that was on the map in Dallas a week before Derby, got close to us last week, and then our front decided to push it down to Louisiana, where it's been all weekend in Louisiana, and now it's on its move back to Kentucky again for a nice little visit. So this thing's been on a journey. Yeah, the resale value of this low is going to be low. It's got too much mileage on it, but you get the idea. It's going to be at least on the move by Wednesday. The next 2 days, not a whole lot of movement will happen. It'll kind of just shift around a bit at times. But it's also a setup that doesn't promote all-day rain. That's good. It doesn't have a lot of forcing with it. It has obviously some moisture with it, but because it's so cloudy, there's not a lot of heating. It's only areas that see a little bit of sun at the right time of day. We have to worry about those storms that could produce maybe some hail, gusty winds, lightning, maybe a brief severe thunderstorm warning. But that would be the exception rather than the rule. There's so many clouds out there that's going to keep things relatively in check. So let me get right into the numbers. This has been a benefit of the clouds and the high humidity level is the thermometer can't really climb dramatically up or down without the help of sunshine. So we're in the 60s now, close to 70. If we get any sun breaks today, and you can tell by looking at the satellite, there are some sun breaks out there. I mean, it's several cases where you're going to get downpours for lunch. You're going to get maybe an hour of sun, and then you're back to another downpour. So if there's something you need to take care of outside that's very short in duration, time out those little breaks that move in before the next round of showers move on by. But the low is spinning over us, so it'll keep generating, like Groundhog Day, more showers in the area and some rumbles of thunder. Not overly worried about severe. As I mentioned, 1 or 2 can gain enough height where naturally a severe thunderstorm warning would get issued just as a precautionary measure, but you can get hail, sometimes small hail, and some gusty winds out of that. I just don't see many of those warnings getting issued, but I'm not going to rule out that they're not going to get issued, because in this scenario of an upper low in the month of May, yeah, you can get them. You can get them, especially if you've got some pockets of heating, and we indeed have that. So they're all drifting for now based on where the low is wobbling. The low is to our west, so everything's moving southeast to northwest. So if you look at the Wave Weather app, look to anything to your southeast. Say, for example, in Louisville, look to Bullitt County and Bardstown. If there's any rain in Bardstown, it's heading your way. Same storyline for really Paoli as well. And once we get the low back in the area again, we may start to see a little bit more of a variant direction that will develop out of these bands of rain. But in general, most of them are southeast to northwest today, at least for now. Let me get rid of the clouds and let's just focus on the rain part of this. And you can see the showers again have overtaken Louisville again. Moderate rainfall at times along Eastern Parkway heading toward the malls. And Eastern Parkway, Hurstbourne Parkway heading toward the malls in Shelbyville Road. And then also on 71 around Norton Commons. Same ordeal. Downtown Louisville's got a light shower. Valley Station right now is mainly dry. So these will continue to spin about, adding very light amounts, maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch in some areas. Good for gardening. Absolutely good for gardening and good for any grass to get planted. This is a good weather pattern with this upper low for the next few days to give you a break. We'll all be doing mowing, trust me, when this is all over with. But for now, let the grass grow and enjoy the plants. Drinking all this up and hopefully starting off on the right foot for especially some of the annuals. If you already planted the annuals, they will be really pretty this year with this kind of a wet start to the season. But the upper low itself, you see it spinning over Memphis, and it will continue to spin just a few more days and becomes a little more erratic and heads to the east-northeast. It gets a little bit of a kick because at the moment there is no kick out there. There is no front to the west of the stain that is going to be able to kick this thing out of the way. So it just got free reign. It's like, oh, look at all this land and real estate. It's going to stretch its legs out a little bit, kind of relax in the recliner, that kind of deal. That's what this low is doing. It's very lazy. So as the low continues to have lazy time, the front will eventually ruin the show and will come into play and say, see ya, you got to go. You've overstayed your welcome. So move on along, please. And that's exactly what happened Wednesday. That'll be our day of transition of getting the low out of here. Until then, it will just be hanging out. Okay, so again, not worries on severe weather, not worries on the flooding aspect or anything like that. So what is next? Well, once it does get the boot, then we have to watch for what happens here in the West. The heat continues to build across areas of the plains and the Rockies, and look at this heat. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but these are temperatures up in this area into North Dakota on the average of 103 degrees for North Dakota all the way into portions of Minnesota. Isn't that remarkable? I mean, we seem to get these heat surges in the summer, but this early, that is tough. They don't have much air conditioning systems up in that area. They bet everything on the furnace, not so much the AC just because of climate. But yeah, climates are changing, so they need to start really putting in ACs up here because this happens a lot where the air is just so dry and it just has no point or no block to it of moving from Texas and just goes straight on in and just continues to heat. And then when you get heat coming off the Rockies, it actually compresses when the air flows from a high elevation, goes down to the plains, the Great Plains. That process, the air falling off the mountains. It's a cool, chilly air in the mountains, but when it falls down, it compresses and it just heats up the Dakotas, heats anywhere up and down that line. Can easily go over 100 degrees this week. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get that hot because we have a different environment. Yes, they have the downsloping winds. They have the straight shot up from Mexico to get triple-digit heat. We have usually our saving grace, and that is a lot of plants, a lot of trees versus the plains. So once that heat shield moves more east, it'll have to deal with a much higher humidity scenario, a lot of green vegetation. That starts to cut down on the thermometer, and you can still get quite warm. We still got our 89s in the forecast. Don't know if we'll hit 90 or not. It's going to be close. It doesn't matter really either way. It's just going to be very warm, but we will get some of that heat starting about Thursday, it looks like, once the low moves out of the way. So this is key. This feature has to disappear off the map, and it will. There's every piece of evidence I've looked at shows that it will get the boot. All right, it's just a matter of a couple more days. Once it does so, then we got to get ready for severe weather because there's no heat alerts out. That's good. It's a dry heat for the plains, but we have a strong front that is going to be diving in across areas of Montana and North Dakota. It will dive right into Illinois. As it does so, it is going to fire up a band of severe weather, possible tornadoes, very close to us as we head into Thursday. Once we get into Thursday night, this low is going to basically keep going on its journey into the northern parts of, say, Maine and Vermont. As it makes that journey, it will allow the front to keep going south that is attached to it. So that will allow for, let me redraw this, your severe threat will likely be, hold on, let me redraw again. your severe threats will likely be right in the front of the boundary itself. And some of this may include Kentucky and Southern Indiana. So I did add late Thursday night into the alert day status on this based on the signal trend. It was there last Friday, and it has been there in every model run since Friday. So, yeah, there's some late night impacts possibly for Thursday we're watching. But then the front, as that low moves on by, the front will stretch out across the Ohio Valley area. This will be our Friday severe threat as it stretches out its legs across much of the Ohio River Valley, especially. And then the front will continue to sink down to the south to where next up will be the Tennessee Valley. We'll have to deal with showers and thunderstorms, and we could actually get a break. Wouldn't that be nice? May not happen until Sunday, but we could get a break in the action as long as this all plays out, where the front moves in with its severe weather into Illinois on Thursday, maybe some leftovers here late Thursday night. It will tilt, become horizontal, and depending on how close it is to us on your Friday, will determine Friday's severe risk. But if it's slower than expected, Saturday could get added to the alert day status. But we're going to hold short on that idea for now. Otherwise, we're thinking it'd be progressive enough to get the Saturday threat more into the Tennessee Valley and give us a break. It will hold at that level for about 2 to 3 days. Unfortunately, as we've seen several times this year, this will all begin to retreat back north as a warm front. So we'll get back into a warmer flow of air, setting the stage for another low pressure that's going to kick up a cold front with showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be strong to severe. And that will be arriving roughly around, I would say, next Tuesday, maybe Wednesday of the following week, with another round of severe weather. This time around, it would look more like this for the severe risk, rather broad area. Could be a big regional threat on severe weather. But again, that's far out, just beyond the 10-day, but we're going to be watching that. So not a lot of break. The only break I could see once the severe threat enters the picture, we may get next Sunday to relax. And then as we get into that following Monday, we need to gear right back up again for more severe weather. But that's the storyline, how it looks for later this week. Not worried about this upper low. The upper low, if anything, is just stalling time for us to get ready for more active weather. But it is going to be warm, if not hot, which is the reason why some of these storms will be quite intense. I will say this, and you're going to see this on Futurecast. A lot of the thunderstorms will be in complexes. You're not looking at really a scenario of a squall line of thunderstorms that's going to rake the whole area. These will be in complexes. So the downside to that is that they can be very powerful. When these little MCSs can get organized, the damage and wind potential on speed goes high. And you don't want them aiming toward you because they tend to knock out trees and power lines in their entire path. Versus a squall line scenario, which will be the most likely one for the following week. Yes, you can get some wind damage along it, but there can be some breaks in that idea. We'll see. But as I mentioned, there's two aspects to this, is a plus or minus. I explained the clusters of thunderstorms would be a minus, that when they organize, they're powerful machines. They can cause a lot of tree damage countywide. But with a late Thursday and Friday, and even part of Saturday scenario, it will be in clusters. So what I'm trying to say is, there will be some of you that may not get a drop out of this scenario for late week, even if you're under an alert day. Now, that's on us to figure out who is more at risk to face these storms, who is not going to be. That's going to be tough. That's going to take until literally the day of. But I can tell you that there are going to be clusters with this, so some of you will get missed. I hope it's you. I hope it's you. And I know it's making you nerve-wracked right now because you really just want to know so you can plan accordingly for outdoor things. I totally understand that. But right now, we just don't know, since they appear on a map and random fashion in a sense, and then play like bumper cars of each other. I just don't know. No one knows that. But I can tell you that the players in the field will be in that form. They'll be in clusters. So if you really are hoping that this all misses you for this weekend, keep hoping, because there is a chance it may do just that. Does that make sense at all? Type 51 if you're good. Just in the overall setup here for late Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you understand they're in clusters, but those that are in clusters can be intense, but there's also a chance you may not get a drop. I just want to make sure everyone's good on that idea. All right. Hello to Paula. Hope you're doing well. Repeating pattern. All right, good. A lot of 51s. I got a 1 from Wendy. Maybe it's supposed to be a 51. Hello, Marianne. 50 plus 1. Thank you, Adam. You're always that one kid in class, weren't you? Joel, 100. That's 89. All right. Smart Alex. I see where you're going. Okay, so here's where we're going to go with this. This is just the severe weather setup, number 1. And I'm trying to group it together. So when you see the alert day and the 10-day, I want you to look at it as one big block that we need to be on guard. Late Thursday, Friday, maybe into early Saturday, but right now we'll say late Thursday and Friday, not all day, just certain times of the day. And we'll give you those times. Once we get a little closer, we should have enough data to give you a time frames and windows for each one of these potential periods to be extra aware and know when to adjust your plans. We're not there yet, but I want you guys to see what is out there. What is the game plan? And then we'll hash it out from there. All right, let me show you what it looks like in the short term. Here is Futurecast. It's our in-house model showing, I mean, it looks messy here because there's fuel mixed in. There's no gold. All right, this is all low-end fuel. Clusters of showers and storms this afternoon. Once we get into the loss of the heating of the day, they begin to weaken. So does the Cape, fades away. We have a chance to relax, quiet overnights. Then we get into the next day. The sun comes out, heat stains up. There they go. They begin to pop. Some pockets of heavy rain. You get a break for maybe 2 hours before you see another one. But another one hits with lightning and thunder. It'll send you back inside, maybe some gusty winds. And then this will keep repeating itself until Wednesday when finally we get rid of this and get ready for what's coming our way for the end of the week. So here's what it looks like on the maps version of this for Thursday into Friday. The warm front's the catalyst here. Once that moves in, there could be a few storms with that warm front. We're watching how far south this could build, and Storm Prediction Center keeps moving it closer to us as well. Got to watch these. They could be supercells, and they could be late night nocturnal activity. Still not ready to give a time period yet, but that's something we're watching. Otherwise, Friday daytime may actually be a very warm and dry day for hours. Summer weather, around 90 degrees and sunshine outside. You're like, where are the storms? Isn't there an alert day out? But you're actually sitting in the problem, though. It's the fuel building over your head and building up like a pressure cooker. So you know what's coming later if something can spark that. But right now you can enjoy the nice weather, and we want you to. But when we get into Friday night, it should be actually fairly explosive development and where they do pop, and they'll rake over the area and hopefully out of our hair as we get into Saturday. Let me show you a closer view from the analogs. This is what they look like for different modeling. Here's Thursday. So yeah, the SIPS analogs are aiming for it for us in our area on Thursday. CSU, yep, it's right down to the Ohio River, but certainly loves Indianapolis and Chicago more and shows some love. SBC did draw that out. Here is the Friday wave. Again, a little more smushed on Friday because the front begins to tilt. CSU, yep, got the signal. And then Storm Prediction Center drew it just a hair south of our area because they're not sure exactly where the front will be when it gets pushed to the south yet. Will it be Tennessee or still over Kentucky? So I could see why the hesitation there. And then as we get into your Sunday, overall, the threat's going to be way to the south. Same with CSU, and they're not even going to highlight us on Storm Prediction Center. So I think that's a fair trend that by the time we into late Saturday and Sunday, it will be over with. But there's no doubt in looking at this that it's going to be very hard to escape active weather in the Ohio River Valley. So you guys knew that. That's why we got the alert out last week. Now we're just fine-tuning alert days and see if we need to add more or subtract back and forth, and we're going to be doing just that. Let me show you the entire 10-day numbers, and I'll get some of your questions real quick. Again, you can see the stormy weather for the next few days. Again, not raining all the time, just ready to dodge them. Thursday, that's when we start to introduce our alert day late night for some thunderstorms. Otherwise, a hot day on Thursday. Thunderstorms at times can't go much higher than a 40% right now because some of these clusters, again, could miss us. So I don't want you to get the idea that a lot of the area is going to get storms. That's not entirely the case. We just know that whatever forms Friday and part of the Saturday morning would be very intense. So that's why we're worried on that. And after that moves by, then we just get into general showers and storms, and then it may reset again next week. I'm thinking next Wednesday could be flagged our next alert day If I get more data on that, I'm going to be working on that over the next few days. All right. Any questions I can try to answer before I got to run here? ZK, so alert day all day. No, right now, if you look carefully at the numbers or the shading, you can see it's the S that's in red, part of the A, but not the rest of the A and the T. And we did it on purpose by design to let you know that it's just the front part of the day that we are worried about. So look at the days of the week, not where it says alert day, but the days of the week are highlighted in the time periods we're looking at. Late Thursday, Friday, and early Saturday as just a block. I don't want to treat these individual systems. I think it's easier for you guys to know that's just when we enter the danger zone, that anything that forms could be strong to severe day or night. So we want you guys to be ready for that. Hope that makes sense, CK. And I may have to turn on the AC for the first time. Yeah, may have to do that. May have to do that. Let's see. You mentioned tornadoes in Illinois Thursday. Are we looking at the same thing? The tornado threat is a little more prevalent on Thursday's round. It's a little more supercell set up on Thursday, especially for Indianapolis and Chicago. We will be on the tail end of that, which I think would be more straight line wind. To me, this time of the year, you don't get as much tornado reports this time of the year. You get a lot of straight line wind events in our area, and that continues all the way through July. A lot of straight line wind issues. Not any better, by the way. Everyone focus on tornado. I fear a straight line wind event more than I do a tornado because they can cover large areas of real estate and do a lot more damage than a tornado can actually do. It may not seem like it, but they can. What's that say, Bryce? Any hazardous weather during work hours on Friday? Not at this point. We'll likely get capped, Bryce, where the atmosphere has a lid on it for a while after the early storms, especially. If there's anything on the radar Thursday night, Friday morning, that will have clouds over us Friday morning. And once the clouds thin, that also will play a role if the temperature of 89 bust, obviously. But the longer those clouds linger, that may actually allow for a calmer setup later into Friday night. But overall, we are expecting it's some type of high cirrus cloud shield that's going to come down to play early on Friday. And so that will buy some time for the daytime period. I think it's going to be more Friday night. You're very welcome. Unfortunately, a lot of this is timing out for nighttime events. Thursday night, Friday night, only exception may be Saturday morning. But in general, these are nocturnal events, your least favorite kind. So that's the reason why we want to make sure we talk about it often. So you're fully aware it's going to be approaching the weekend. You're going to be making your plans. No need to cancel them yet. I just want you guys to know what's on the table. We always have to be transparent with you all, tell you like it is, what our thoughts are. And I hope it's up to you to make your adjustments if you feel like you need to. And we'll let you know our confidence level that if we feel like you need to. We're not there yet. So I think right now you just need to be aware, and that's it. Just have a mindset of backup plans. You know, what happens if it were to storm at 8 p.m. on Thursday and we've got that picnic? Where else could we go? Nancy, call John, see where can we take this? Can we maybe do it at your house, in your basement? Yeah, we can. Great, worked out. See, that kind of conversation is what I'm expecting y'all to have this week. And work it out now of a backup plan just in case. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone for now. You guys are awesome. Have a good Monday out there. I know it's going to be a little stormy and rainy, but it's not bad. It could be worse. You guys know how this works. So a decent day overall, and we'll take this one day at a time, guys, on the severe weather side. I'll see you on the flip.